woman is amazing. She is the 2011-2012 Field Advisory Board representative. She is a two-time Spirit of Isogenics recipient, and she's also been the recipient of the Women of Isogenics Award, and she's a four-star Golden Circle Crystal Executive. And this woman has been such a tremendous mentor to me, and a friend, and an inspiration. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you today Ms. Ronda Coallier.
Caron, thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. Can you guys hear me in the webinar okay? If you could just chat and just send a little text message, that would be great. Okay, good. I'm getting yes and yes. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Richard. Hi, Marnie. Well, thank you so much, you guys. Good morning. This is Ronda Coallier calling in from Redding, California. It is my honor and privilege to spend this morning with you. And Jay Bennett had given me a call, I don't know, a couple weeks ago and asked me to join in to the webinar team. And I'm honored to do that. I tell you, I want to acknowledge Mr. Jay Bennett for everything that he's done for all of us in Isogenics. You know, he's really put himself out there and given, and I'm so grateful. So thank you, Jay Bennett. And this is my first time doing a webinar, so it's really a lot of fun. So thanks for joining us. You know, what I wanted to do today, if it's all right with you guys, is I wanted to just kind of briefly go a little bit over my background. There's a picture of me I just posted up, and you know, it was May of 2002 that I got a phone call from Dr. John Gray. And that's a picture of us many moons ago. There I am with dark hair, and there's John Gray. Look at his long hair. And we were doing a Mars-Venus event there. I ran his company for a few years. There was a company called the Mars and Venus Counseling Centers, and we licensed and trained marriage and family therapists, and we taught them all of John's work so that they could use that work in their counseling practices. So I ran that company for about 5 years, but we ended up shutting that company down. John was really going in another direction. We weren't sure where yet, but we have figured that out now, that he was getting very, very passionate about health and wellness. And so we had shut that company down, but in May of 2002, I got a phone call from Dr. John Gray. And he shared his isogenic story with me, and he invited me to try isogenics. And the way that he did that was very powerful. You know, he just called me up. He's like, "Hey, Rhonda, it's John. I have something so amazing to share with you." And he told me that he found this product and he did this system, and you know, he lost 25 pounds and his brain was working better, and that he was feeling younger. And he asked me to do him a favor, and he asked me to try his products, try these products out, let him know what they do for my body. And he said to me, "If you love the products, I'll show you how you can make some retirement income." And he said, you know, if you don't like them, you can get your money back. So I thought, wow, okay, well, I'm always into, you know, feeling good and looking good and losing a few pounds. And I had never tried a cleanse before, but I did order the products right away, and I got on the products. And what happened for me was probably the same that happened for all of you, you know, on this line. I had a massive, massive impact by these products. My body, my mind, you know, I lost weight, I felt better. I just knew immediately, within a week of having these products in my body, that I was going to want these products in my body all the time. And so from there, I started to kind of take a look at the business. And today, what I want to share with you are what I found out all these years, you know, working this business, is there are some basics that I had to learn. There are some basics that I had to get really, really good at doing. And those are the things that we're going to go over today. The basics of our story, sharing our story. The basics of creating a list. We're going to talk about that. And the basics of setting appointments and three-way calls. Now, most of you that are on the line today, whether you're brand new or you've been with Isogenics for years, right, you're familiar with these items. You've heard these items probably already. And the reason that you've heard these items is because these are the basics. Once we learn these and we master these and we take action on these items, what I discovered was that is this business. You know, when I first started this business, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have any idea what to do. I mean, I didn't have a background in sales. Some of you do, I know. Good for you. And for some people, that might even be something you have to overcome if you have a background in sales. We can talk about that later, but I didn't have this background in sales, and I didn't have a background in teams. Actually, I had really very little skills developed to be able to do this business successfully. But I did have a lot of passion for isogenics. If you've got passion for isogenics, say, I got passion, baby. Go ahead, type it in the chat. All right, there you go. Yeah, you do, Marnie. Marnie, you got the passion. Karen, right on. Vicki, that's it. That's it, you guys. So I had this passion, just like you have this passion, and I sat there. There you go. Thanks, everyone. Richard, I love it. And I had to figure out, okay, what do I do? So the basics that I had to figure out is sharing my story, creating my list, and setting appointments. So let's talk about this for a second, because I want to give some pointers, and I've got some excellent speakers on the call that are going to share with us as well. The first thing that really kind of blew my mind here is my story. Actually, the first thing that blew my mind is creating my list, but I'm going to get to that in just a moment. What I really understood later is that I had to really get very, very good at sharing my story. And for those of you that are brand new, and those of you that have been doing this for a while, the scripts that Isagenix has provided us in the back office or on the isagenixbusiness.com training site are an excellent place to start. Okay, I know that you guys will totally relate when I'm sharing with you that knowing what you're going to say and being able to say it clearly and being able to say it easily makes sharing a lot easier. Do you agree? You can just say, I agree, if you agree. But here's what I didn't understand in the beginning. You know, I knew that I had to learn how to share my story. But what I really didn't understand is how important it was to really practice that, you know. And even though Kathy Cooper had taught practice and practice in the mirror and in the car and, you know, when she was doing her home, oops, sorry you guys. Sorry about that. Let me just mute the lines here.
All guests are now muted.
I heard that laugh. Okay, all guests are muted. Thank you, guys. So, you know, sharing your story, really what I wanted to talk about today is practicing it. And in a moment, I'm going to have a gentleman that's going to share some, you know, his journey in this part of it. And so the scripts are excellent, a great place to start. You want to print out those scripts, okay? And in that, you're going to have an opportunity to share your product story, your business story. You're going to have excellent, excellent opening lines. Opening lines, for me, were the greatest thing that I could learn. You know, really learning how to dialogue with people everywhere, no matter where I was, no matter what I was doing, is really learning a couple of really, really great opening lines. One of my favorite opening lines is a lot of times when people ask me what I do, you know, you're in conversation with someone and eventually, if I'm asking somebody questions, right, and I'm listening to them and I'm really getting to know them, eventually they're going to ask me, if I've asked them what do they do and we're kind of chatting about it, eventually they're going to ask me what I do. And one of my favorite opening lines that I like to share with people is, I'm a residual income expert. And I don't say anything after that, you know. And a lot of times people are like, oh, wow, you know, what does that mean, you know? So what I had to learn how to get good at doing, and which I'm encouraging each of you to really practice, is having a few small sound bites that you resonate with, that you love to share, that pique curiosity, that create curiosity so that people are going to ask you, well, what is that? Well, what does that mean? Because what I love about that part is that gives you permission to share. Okay? So really practicing, getting a good couple, 3, 4, 5, 30-second stories down. One of my favorites that I use a lot that is my product story is when I'm out and about and I'm in a store, or maybe I'm doing some shopping, especially for us when we're clothes shopping, ladies. What I love to do is I love to talk about how I lost 9 pounds in 9 days. And if I just start talking about that in a store, I've got 15 people that want to know what it is, right? So really learning how to share from that place where people are asking you for more information. And the way that I got good at all of this is by practicing. And, you can practice with a lot of people. What is this here? Richard is saying mirror plus voice recorder is a great way to practice. Awesome, Richard. Thank you for that. That's great. I love it. So you can practice in the mirror, right? Use your voice recorder or your cell phone. And then you can listen to yourself, right, Richard? So that's why you're recording it, so you can listen to yourself and see how you're doing. Another thing that really is a great way to practice is, get someone with you that you can really practice with. I think Stephan Mueller, gentleman we're going to have share in just a moment, had one of his new associates invited 15 people over to his house, or 10 people over, so he could practice his presentation. So really that element is something that I really encourage each of you to do, understanding that practice makes perfect. Get really good at talking, and actually you're going to get paid. You're going to get paid while you're learning this. That's what's so great about Isagenix, right? And really get good at talking, really get good at these scripts, and really understand the necessary for that piece of it. Yes, you can just pick up the phone and start talking, and that's a way that you can start practicing as well. Just start calling people and start practicing, but understand that the scripts in front of you are going to give you that comfort. Okay? And the last piece that I had on here, you guys, that I wanted to share on today's webinar was practice getting no's. Oh my gosh. So I don't know about you guys, but when I first started Isagenix 9 years ago, I was so afraid to talk to anybody about Isagenix. I was so petrified of rejection. And for me, in the beginning, what the rejection meant was that I didn't do it good enough. So, it just brought up some of my self-esteem issues, okay? It just brought up, that I didn't feel like I could do this, or that I didn't feel good enough, or that I didn't do it good enough. And what I really had to get good at, and what I'm really encouraging you to do, is really practice getting no's. Understand that the no's are so important. And if you've been in this a while, you know that. But if you're brand new, or you're just getting started, understanding that there's going to be a lot of no's. Like, the no's are good. The no's are really good, because the more no's you get, the closer you are to getting to your yes. And, Susan Sly shared the story. I forget exactly the number, but it was a big number. It was upwards of 80, let's say 85 people on her original list. And she called that list, and I think 78 of them or 82 of them, something like that, said no. So out of her original almost 100 people, I think she had 3 yeses. So really understanding that no's are a part of this business. Getting no's all week long doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful. Getting a no only means that, you're closer to getting a yes. So I really had to work with that, and I wanted to share that with you guys this morning. The next piece that I wanted to share, let's see if this is coming up here, is about being believable. This ties in with your practicing your scripts and practicing dialoguing with people. Okay? And, Lenny Evans, I have his book up here, The Journey to Believable. If you haven't read this book, I highly encourage you to go on isasalestools.com and order this book, because Lenny shares his journey that he went through on building his belief. And he talks about how important it is, our belief levels. And, you know, the reality is this, you know, if you believe a little bit, then you're a little bit believable, right? If you believe a lot, then you are, you know, very believable. And if you don't believe, then people aren't going to believe you. And so that conviction of this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going, this is what's happening, okay? That conviction that believing in yourself, believing in isogenics, believing in our products, believing in our industry, and believing in our compensation plan, our company, our leaders, okay? And you know another thing that I wanted to say on this, you guys? Believing in other people. Really, really seeing the greatness in other people. And you know, we all know that this is an easy business. This is a simple business, but it's not easy, okay? So for me, a lot of times I had to work through if I was believing in other people. I got all the other belief levels down. I worked on believing in myself, and I got the company and the products and the comp plan and the industry. You know, I got all that belief down. Then my biggest piece was believing in the person that I was talking to, seeing their greatness, maybe even before they could see it. Because a lot of times, I don't know if this happens for you guys, but a lot of times I would begin to share this with somebody, and the one piece that was missing was that I didn't believe that they could do it. And if I didn't believe that they could do it, then that's going to come through on some level, right? They're going to feel that, right? So I have to believe that they can do it. And I have to communicate to them that we're going to do it together. That we together are going to create success. Use that term we when you're sharing isogenics, so that people really, really understand that they're not going to have to do this by themselves. And there's a gentleman that I want to introduce that really, what I've really watched from this gentleman is a gentleman that he's come on board to isogenics, and he did not believe at all. He didn't believe at all. But, you know, someone talked him into the products, and he didn't believe in this industry. He didn't know anything about our company. And, you know, this gentleman went from someone who didn't believe to someone that has such deep belief and such conviction. And he's sharing every single day isogenics and his story. And I want to introduce to you guys Mr. Stephan Mueller. And Stephan, you know that was a journey for you. You're currently a 1-star executive. And, you know, I just want to congratulate you for taking the journey and just share a little bit your story and what's happened for you. Uh-oh, we can't hear you, Stephan. Hold on a second. Did you call in on the moderator line? Stephan, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, speak loudly, okay? And I had to unmute the line. So if you guys are listening in on the conference call, please hit *6 to mute your lines.
Okay. Ronda, I'm glad you can hear me now. Can you hear me?
I can hear you okay. Can everybody else hear you?
Yes.
Great.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for having me on the call. I'm super honored to be on here. And Ronda, I just love you dearly. You've helped me so much. And yeah, you know, I came into isogenics in almost 4 years, and you know, that was totally true. Like coming as a non-believer, I believed in things, but I definitely didn't like look to get into network marketing or anything like that. No, I actually came in, and I really just kind of came in for curiosity because I never cleansed my body before. And my sponsor, you know, I never mentioned that if you ever cleansed, and I tried it, and you know, it was 4 days. We have that brochure that says 4-day miracle, and that's exactly what happened for me. That 5th day, I woke up, and I had this incredible just sense of clarity, and it was also a real sense of peace that came over me. And I had just I just had some anxiety and my energy was up and down, so I would drink coffee morning and afternoon, and that really, all that went away. So I just felt incredible. I used the products for a year, and after a year, I watched my sponsor, David Caron Kavanagh, create a six-figure income in a year. And that was in '07, and that was really kind of eye-opening, because that was right when the economy was really tanking. And I've been in mortgage and real estate for over 10 years, and that was impressive. And then they basically told me, hey, if you just start sharing it with people, you can get your products for free. And I started doing that. And I just, real slowly kind of was, I understand, so I was kind of massaged into this. And I started to look a little bit more. What really raised my belief was when I started plugging into events. First event I went to, I totally didn't believe in isogenics. I thought it was like a cult. I thought it was just weird. I was like, what is this? And then, then that was celebration. And then I saw enough there that moved me that I went to another event, and I started to go to more events, and I really started to get that belief inside of me. And, today, my belief is really high in all of those areas, but it's really taken work. And also, part of the work is identifying where my belief was low. That was kind of tricky because things weren't working for me. I had to identify those areas where the belief was missing. I think everything's about belief. So.
Well, Stephan, thank you for sharing your story, and I know that there's some people that had just now had logged in and say it was getting a little bit low in hearing you. So you're doing great, and keep talking really loudly. Thank you. But I wanted to ask you about our conversation that we had at John Gray's seminar a couple weekends ago, when you mentioned to me, and I have felt this way so many times, and I think there's so many people on this line that have felt this way or are feeling this way. And you said to me, you said, yeah, I'm because Stephan, you're on it, man. You're meeting people, you're making phone calls, and you're setting appointments, and you're taking those daily actions that produce income. And you said to me, Rhonda, the thing that's kind of a sticker for me sometimes is, my income isn't up there all the way yet. And just talk about that, if you would, and kind of, what we talked about.
Yeah, thanks, Rhonda.
Hold on one second, Stephan. Hey, folks, if you're on the conference line and you're speaking, can you hit *6 to mute your line, please?
Okay. Rhonda, that was really big when we ended up pretty cool chatting John Gray. But basically, I come from a mindset of having a big income. I've been there and had multiple six-figure income. And so coming into isogenics, when I started to really look at it seriously, it was a challenge for me. And even up till recently, that was a piece for me that, my income is not at that multiple six-figure level yet. And here I want to go and talk to people that have big incomes. I've talked to some people that, are making millions. And, I found that belief inside of me is huge. And, if I don't believe 100% in where I'm going, and this is what you said to me, it was so big. It was so simple, but so big. You said it doesn't matter how much you're earning right now. Just speak your vision powerfully and communicate where you're going and show people how you're getting there. That just hit home for me. It's one of the most amazing things about isogenics. We get these nuggets along the way, and I'm just collecting a lot of them. This is a big one you gave me. So I've actually taken that and created an affirmation out of it. And even just in the last few days of eating that to myself, my new affirmation is, it doesn't matter how much I'm earning right now. I'm speaking my vision powerfully, communicating where I'm going, and showing people how I'm getting there. Okay, so now I know that I am looking for people that want to create a $500,000 a year income. And I'm going there. I have no doubt about that, and other people are coming with me. So now it's just a matter of sifting and sorting and finding the people that want to do it and that believe. So it's that was a huge piece for me.
Right on, right on. Marnie's going with you. All right, Marnie. Yes, you are, sister. Stephen, thank you so much for sharing that. You know, that information, when we were standing there at John Gray, and I want to share with everybody on the line also. Karen's coming too, Stephen. All right. What I wanted to share is that, you know, when Stephen shared that with me, I kind of got this download, if you will, and I realized that, let's think of, you know, for all of us that are starting our Isagenix business, and, you know, for any of you that are sitting there and you don't have any cycles, or you've got one cycle, or you know, you got 10 cycles, or wherever you are, okay, you know, think back to when Jim and Kathy Coover started our company. And I want you to think about that for a minute. Yes, Jim and Kathy Coover had previous experience of success, but when they started Isagenix, just like you, when you start your Isagenix company and you're the CEO of your own business, when they started Isagenix hadn't made any money. Isagenix didn't have any success. They weren't able to go to people and show them the numbers that they're able to show them now. Okay, we all have to start at that place. And what they had to be good at was sharing their conviction, their belief of where they were going. Okay? So make a note, make a promise. This is my call to action to you, okay? When you share your Isagenix story, when you start to dialogue with people and you get permission and you share your story, without verbal vomiting, don't go on and on, but I want you to add into the end of your story and talk about where you're going. For example, Stephen just did a great job. I'm looking for people that want to make $500,000 a year or more, and I can show them how to do it. Okay, that's a very clear vision of where he's going. Okay, I share with people that, you know, I am looking for 10 people that want to earn an additional $100,000 residual income. Okay, so really sharing your vision of where you're going is a massive important piece of sharing your story. So I'm going to move on, and Stephen, I want to thank you for being on the call this morning with me, and I hope you stay on and share some more with us.
Thanks, I will, Rhonda.
Awesome. Okay, so the second thing is your list, and you know, this is it, you guys. You know, I don't know how many of you on this line have a list, don't have a list, but this is where most people fail. Right here. This is it. You know, most people don't even write the list. But one of the things I wanted to talk about today on the list, and you know, there's a lot of training around this, okay? But the one piece that I really wanted to focus on with you guys today is making a commitment, and even setting yourself up for some accountability around this, that you're going to be adding to your list every single day, okay?
All guests are now muted.
And, you know, there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. What I did, I just followed what Kathy Coover shared with me, which was get a red binder, a red spiral binder, and write on the cover of it, my list, okay? Big, bold letters. I've got Rhonda's list written on it. And, you know, as I'm going out and about in my day, because I've practiced my story, because I've practiced my opening lines, and they can just roll off my tongue, and I've learned how to connect with people, and I've learned how to ask questions, and I've learned how to share, you know, interest-generating statements, I am able to gather people's contact information that might be interested in information about Isagenix. And that is one of the things that I had to learn how to do. You know, first of all, for me, calling my list, it was really scary for me. It took me a long time to call my list. It was a lot easier for me to go out and go to events and meet people and dialogue with them about Isagenix, capture their contact information, and follow up and set an appointment with them and show them Isagenix. That was a lot easier for me. There wasn't a relationship there that I didn't feel I was risking. So I had to learn both. I had to learn how to talk to my family and friends. I had to learn how to talk to people that I do business with and, you know, make those connections. But the main goal that I really wanted to share with everyone before, we're probably going to go for like another 10 minutes, you guys, maybe 15 depending. But the main goal I wanted to share, step number 2 in the basics of building your business, is your list and adding to it every single day. Now, a little tip that I do, you guys, is I have a little, this is for the women out there, maybe the men, you might have a business bag that you carry around or that you have in your car. But what I have is I've got a red zipper pouch that I carry in my purse. The only thing that ever goes in that red zipper pouch are business cards or, contact information of people that I've met and connected with, so that I don't lose them, because before they used to be all over the place. They'd be in my pockets, in my jacket, in my purse, in my gym bag, in my car, in my dashboard, underneath the seat. I'd be looking for that phone number forever. But that red pouch now, boom, I get a card, I get the contact information, and it goes right into that pouch. And that has really helped me a lot in terms of, staying on track with that. What I want to talk about next is setting the appointment. And I put up this picture of me. I hope you guys are enjoying it. If you like the picture, you can say haha or something. But I put this picture of me up here about 3-way calls and setting the appointment, because I really wanted to make the point of making the 3-way call fun and easy, and really keeping it simple. And it can really happen anywhere. Here I was out, I was having dinner with some folks, and I got a text message. One of my team members was showing Isagenix to somebody, and she asked if she could do a 3-way call with me. And I said, absolutely. There you go. Thanks, Mark. So the 3-way call and setting the appointment, those are the final step, if you will, of really mastering this business. Mastering this business, mastering how to share your story, mastering how to add to your list and grow your list every single day, and mastering the ability of getting the appointment set and using the 3-way calls, right? Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Karen. So those are the 3 items, and the setting the appointment and the 3-way call. I've got a gal on the phone today that I've been personally working with since Celebration. And she has been really following this system. She's been absolutely in action every single day, and she's driving her business forward. And I wanted to introduce to you guys Miss Caron Kavanagh, of course, from Northern California. Caron is a 2-star Golden Circle Crystal Executive, who I'm currently calling the Queen of Daily Action. And Caron, are you there?
I'm here.
Awesome.
Thank you, Rhonda. Well, what an honor to be on the call with you. This has been, I'll tell you what, everything that you're saying today is so critical. And it is, it's all, like you said, it's simple. It's not easy, but it's so simple, and sometimes we overcomplicate it. And so thank you so much for sharing the basics with us again. And, my story, it actually started out with the products. I started, like a lot of people, I ended up going to my doctor, who's a holistic practitioner, and I wasn't sleeping, had no energy, couldn't focus, massively stressed, living in corporate America, and turned out I was massively stressed out, and had some change of life issues, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, she put me on these products and said, try this for 30 days. And similar to Stephen, I was within a matter of, that 3 to 5 day window, and I just started feeling incredible. My energy started coming back. I started sleeping better, and I thought, boy, I don't know if this stuff is legal, but I'm in. And I'll tell you what, since then, I am an advocate. And, I didn't even know that there was a business attached. And my doctor didn't share that there was a business attached for about a year. And until I got to a place where I was becoming basically a casualty of corporate America. And, my job was going away. And I saw it going away, and I thought, I have to do something. I need a plan B. And son of a gun, she said, I happened to go to see her one day, and she said, you should look into this Isagenix thing. And I'm like, what Isagenix thing? She said, well, there's a business attached to it. And I said, there is. So connected me with my one of my upline, Rick Reynolds, and since then it was just full steam ahead. I really started taking a look at the company, the compensation plan. My background is in sales and marketing, and so I wanted to look at the company as from a business perspective, and boy, the leadership, the quality products I had already known that they were great. And before I knew it, people were coming up to me and asking me, why I was looking the way I looked, and I lost 20 pounds, and I was looking and feeling fantastic, and everyone wanted a part of that, and I didn't know that there was a business, and I was just, selling products, not even selling products, just buying it and giving it away. Who knew? So since then, boy, I'll tell you, I'm just in love with this business. I love the freedom. I love everything about it, and I just feel really blessed to be a part of it. And so part of what we do is we share this with people. And everything you were saying about the believability. I've had Rob Money's book as well, and really tried to get my belief, looking at where was my belief not a 10, and looking at those areas, doing my due diligence to figure out what do I need to do to get to that 10 in those different areas, whether it was in network marketing. I had the belief in the company, I had belief in the product. A lot of it was a belief in myself. And so, I needed to do the work on me to get to my belief level to where I had that conviction, like Stephan has, that really strong, powerful conviction that, hey, I'm going here. Are you coming with me? Because if not, I'll leave you in the dust. So, when I talk to people, one of my goals is I attend a lot of different networking events. So I at least do one networking event every single week. And it could be going to a Chamber of Commerce event, and, if there's not one in your town, go to some of the surrounding towns. There's also Rotary events. There's meetups. If you go to meetup.com, look for things that are interesting to you. Sometimes there's business networking. Sometimes there's yoga, running, whatever that thing is for you. Just find something in common with people and look to connect with people, and then you can certainly have conversations around that particular thing. And when you're doing, the conversation with the, family, occupation, recreation, and motivation, you're going to have, areas where you have conversations around isogenics, because we have a solution for people that are, lacking in those, and have gaps in those areas. Facebook is another great place to meet people and connect with people, whether it's people from high school or, again, going into different groups and just connecting with people and starting conversations. So one of the other things that's been extremely powerful for me is having Ronda as my accountability partner. And I, connect with her on a daily basis. I have my goals at the beginning of the week that I give to her for what I want to accomplish, how many people I want to connect with, how many new people I want to connect with every day, and then how many follow-up calls I'm going to do every day, and, what's going on. If did I do a home party? Did I do an event? Did I do a networking event? Did I do, a trade show? What did I do, and how did I connect with people? And I'm texting her at the end of every single day as to what I'm doing. And what that does for me is that's created a place where I know somebody's watching me. And it's so easy when we're kind of out here by ourselves. Nobody really knows what we're doing, and, we can kind of get away with it. But when you've got somebody watching you and really being a stand for you, like Ronda's a stand for me, it's so, so helpful and so powerful. And I want to make sure that she's successful as my mentor, that it's not just my success, but that she's going to be successful as my coach and mentor. And the way to do that is to do what I say I'm going to do, and be in that, have that daily action. And so, whether it's just being at the grocery store and just connecting with somebody and having a conversation with them, and, just like Rhonda said, learning about that, getting to know them, eventually they're going to ask you, what do you do? And when you have that great line, a lot of times my line, if it's, around the product, it's I help people look and feel good naked. And boy, oh boy, does that get their attention. And that certainly begs the question, how do you do that? So that's a great one to get people started. I love Rhonda's residual income specialist. I've actually taken that on as well from the business perspective. So really just, getting out there and connecting with people. We've got something so magical to share, and we have the ability to transform people's lives, not only physically but financially. And knowing this, knowing what we know, we really have a responsibility to share it. So that's, really how I look at this every day. I get out of bed with a purpose. This is not about me. This is really about who am I going to help today? who's going to be put in my path that I know that I can help. And, just keeping that list and just adding to that list every single day, eventually you're going to get some yeses. And when you get those yeses, you're going to lock arms with those people that are those yeses and really build a great business. So
that's fantastic. Caron, you really are doing that. You really are. And, you came to me at convention, and I encourage you guys, Caron came to me, and I think you were even a little nervous to ask me to be your mentor or your coach or whatever. I feel like I'm learning more from you than you are from me. And, it's a two-way street. We teach what we most need to learn, and, we get so much when we do show up for someone in this way. But I think you were a little nervous, but you came up to me and you said, I'm committed to going 3-star, and I would like you to mentor me and be my accountability partner. And I said absolutely. And for those of you that are listening, you may have heard this a lot, or maybe this is the first time you're hearing this, but when your results are measured and reported, they are proven to improve. I'll say that again. When your results are measured and reported, they are proven to improve. So that accountability piece is a massive piece, and Caron, you've been on it. You're doing it every single day. What I wanted to ask you before we wrap up real quick is about getting your appointments set. Any tips that you have for that part or that piece, or the 3-way call?
Yeah, well, the yes and yes are both important. As far as getting the appointment set, what I try to do when I'm right there with the person, because ideally that's the best time to do it. If you collect their information, sometimes now you're trying to get back to them at a time that was right for them. You might end up leaving a lot of messages, etc. But if you can get that, that appointment when you're in that conversation and there's some interest on some level, whether it's product or business or both, if you can say, what does your schedule look like for next Tuesday at like 2 or 3 o'clock, and really try to get them to commit to a time right then and there. It doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes they don't have their calendars with them, but if you get into a habit of asking for that in the moment, the chances are of you getting that appointment because they're in the conversation, they're excited, they're intrigued, and they want to learn more. The chance of getting that appointment right then and there is pretty high. Versus if you try to catch them later, then it's then sometimes that wears off a little bit. Or they start, second guessing, or the fear starts to creep in, like, ooh, this might be one of those other things I'm going to fail at, or whatever that is for them. So I try to do that as much as possible. And, from there, once I've got the appointment, I follow Jay's 3-step system. You get the appointment to take a look when they're in front of their computer and have them watch the video. I have the video going at the same time so I can see when attending. I call them right back in that moment and ask them what they liked about what they saw. And, and then also at that point, when they start asking questions, that's the time for the 3-way call. And that's, as soon as they start asking a question, I know I can answer the question. But the point of the 3-way call really is to not only just, have somebody else edify me in a way that I can't edify myself. That's huge. I can tell people what I've done and all that, and that's all really fine and good. But when Rhonda says it, it's like, wow. They're like, wow, okay, there's this person that I'm talking to, this Caron, she's okay. It's not just me kind of touting my own accolades. And secondly, it also teaches people that they're not doing this by themselves. And if they get stumped, if they have a question, that they have an upline, or they have other people that they can seek out, that they don't have to have all the answers. So really, really important, the 3-way call.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Caron, you're amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing your tips. And, I want to just wrap up, you guys, with the reality here. There's just some basic stuff that we all just need to get really, really good at. And for me, I'm a yellow, so I'm all about having fun while I'm doing it. And I really, really encourage you guys, practice your story, make a commitment that you're adding to your list every single day. Get that accountability partner because it's proven to improve your results, and set those appointments and do those three-way calls. And you know, that's what we're doing. And before we wrap up, I want to just say this is so important, you guys. For those of you that stuck it out with us, you're going to be really glad you did, because this coming, what is it, Monday, November 21st at 5:30 Pacific time, there is going to be a huge announcement. And right here's the information. You got the phone number and all of that. I can't see it on my webinar right now, but you've got the phone number. It's in the back office. The company is giving us a major Christmas gift, and it's coming November 21st. And if you knew what I knew today, I know that you would be spending every minute that you had setting appointments for next week. I want you guys to get your lists out. I want you guys to get your holiday card list out, your wedding list, your cell phone. I want you to call and just connect with people. You don't even have to bring up Isagenix. You could just call. I wanted to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. How is the family? Start connecting, asking questions, reaching out. If they ask you what you're up to, you can share a little bit of information, and maybe you'll get an appointment set to show them some information. But here's what's happening. There's going to be a massive opportunity coming starting Monday, November 21st. So get ready, get prepared. Everything that we're doing today, this week, next week, and the next 6 weeks of 2011, everything that we're doing is preparing us for a massive, massive momentum the beginning of 2012. You know, a lot of people take this time off, and they really go down, they take the time off, and this is the time that if you really take the time to make these phone calls and reach out, connect, and share, I promise you that you're going to be busting open 2012 with the biggest year you've ever had. So thank you so much, you guys, for taking the time to be on the call today. I really believe in each and every one of you. I know you can do this. It's only a matter of time, and just enjoy the journey, okay, you guys? Caron, thank you. Steve, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Have a great day and get ready for Monday.
Oh.
Let me open the lines. How do I do it here?
All guests are now unmuted.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much. I know not all of you are on this line, but have a great weekend. Happy Thanksgiving, and just have a great week. Take care.
Awesome call, Rhonda.
Thank you, Stephen.
Great job, Rhonda.
Thanks, Caron.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Thanks, Marnie.